I promised that I'd figure out a way to build Raylib projects natively on AmigaOS 4, and I have. And this one is way nicer than the cross-compiling setup I showed in a previous video, because this one builds out of the box on all major platforms, including AmigaOS 4. There's no need to install dependencies or anything. It builds out of the box. And I've turned it into a template which you can download from Kia Campus's Amiga Corner. First though, watch how I did it. All right, first we need to make sure that your build setup is correct. You need the AmigaOS 4 SDK, so if you don't have that, go to Hyperion Entertainment's website and download and install it from there. Then you will need this SDK add-on. So this gives you the Raylib 4 runtime library and updated compilers to use it. And this is where I'm very much looking forward to an updated version of this Odyssey web browser, because with the old version that I'm using right now, GitLab looks horrible and it's actually non-functional. So normally you would use this URL and then you would choose the latest release. I'm just going to use a direct link. This link here gets you the latest release as of recording this video. Actually, I won't do that because I've already got it installed, but you would have to download that. And you also want the AmigaOS 4 CMake port, which is once again available on GitHub. This time, for some reason, you do actually have download links here, and they do work. Otherwise, here's the direct link to the latest version as at recording this video. Hopefully by the time you're trying this out, there will be an updated version with fewer bugs. Now after this, unfortunately, you're going to have to go to a Windows, Mac, or Linux machine, because you need to download pre-compiled binaries for Raylib and its dependencies. So the way we're going to do this is, for all other platforms, we're just going to use fetch content as normal to pull in the Raylib source code and build it. Because we can't do that for AmigaOS 4, instead we're going to put pre-compiled binaries and the header files directly into our project. So that way everything's there. For AmigaOS 4 we use the pre-compiled binaries, and for the other platforms we build the source code directly. Anyway, I couldn't find an unarchiver for .deb files. .deb files are actually kind of gzipped, or not gzipped, I've forgotten the name of it. Anyway, it's just an archive format, and I couldn't find the unarchiver for the Amiga. So if you just bring it across, download these files, these three files. So this is the Ubuntu package that I used to cross-compile Raylib, my Raylib project, from an Ubuntu-based AmigaOS 4 cross-compiler. We just download those to another machine, decompress them, and copy the files over to your Amiga. And then what you want to do is, in your project, you create a third-party subdirectory, AmigaOS 4 libs, and in there you copy the Raylib 4 subdirectory from each of these .deb files. So you want the libraylib5 one. It depends on glfw, and in turn both of them depend on gl4es. And once you've done that, within the Raylib 4 directory you should have an include directory with all of their header files, and you should also have a lib directory with all of the pre-compiled libraries. And with that in place, now let me just close that, that's distracting. Now we can modify our CMake lists build script to use this on AmigaOS 4. So first we check if CMake system name is AmigaOS, then we say set AmigaOS 4 as 1, and then we can use that down here. So if we're building for AmigaOS 4, then we set some compiler flags because we want to use the Raylib 4 runtime instead of newlib or Raylib 2. So we do that for C++, C, we set the linker flags and so on. But the most important lines are these two. So we set the include directories to include third-party /AmigaOS libs /clib4 /include. So that makes these header files available to the compiler. And next we do link directories to the lib directory that we copied across into our project. So that makes Raylib, glfw3, and the open gl4es available to the compiler. And finally, we need find package threads to make multi-threading available, because we're going to need that. That's another dependency. And that's basically it. This else section here, that's the fetch content-based method for all the others. One tricky thing with using precompiled binaries is we need to keep the precompiled binaries and building from the source synchronized. So we're using version 5.5 of Raylib for both of them. And that's just for consistency. Otherwise, you might have things working on one platform and not another. And there's one more change that needs to be done, which is down here. So after the add executable here, where we create our executable with main.cpp here, for AmigaOS 4, we also need to link to the glfw3 lib, to OpenGL, and to multi-threading, basically pthreads. And with that done, that should work. I'll also show you, I've also created this cross-compiler file. So you can cross-compile this as well. This will work out of the box for an AmigaOS 4 cross-compiler, like the one I showed in the previous video. No need to install any dependencies. Anyway, let's go and build it. Actually, I can just do cmake -b build. You got to wait a bit while cmake will configure the project. It's got to define various things. This is one of the bugs in the current version of cmake for AmigaOS 4. Sometimes you have to run it twice to get it to configure fully. Okay, now I can do cmake build the build directory. And now it will build the file, link it to the precompiled binaries, and it's done. So let's head in there. And we should be able to run hello window. There we go. We've got our first Raylib project building out of the box on AmigaOS 4. I can also build the very same code for Windows, for Mac OS X, and Linux, and more. Not perfect setup. Ideally, I'd like to use the same system for all platforms, including AmigaOS 4, but this works well enough. This is good enough that I can write software, multi-platform software, and build it for the Amiga as well. You can download the template that you saw, this template code. This template you can download from the Kia campus. Click the link below the video and join the creator or the elite tier to be able to access the download. Next time, I'll show you how to build Raylib itself on AmigaOS 4. So I'll see you then.